All right. We'll begin the test. Can you please begin by introducing yourself?
Okay, so my name is Afra Binti Ali. I am a graduate in biochemistry and biotechnology from North South University. I'm giving this test to apply for masters in Australia.
Okay. Now, can you tell me something about your family? How many members do you have in your family?
I have 5 members in my family. My mother, my father. I have 2 elder siblings, my older brother and my older sister.
All right. Now, you said that you studied biochemistry. Growing up, what was your favorite subject?
Biology and mathematics were my favorite subjects.
All right.
I always loved the using very simple formulas and finding a correct answer for each question. So it was very straightforward. I loved that. And biology was the study of our body. So I love learning about my body.
All right. And how important would you say your teachers were in your academic developments?
Oh, they were very important. Uh, they always I was a good student, so they were always very much happy to help me in every way they could. They were very cooperative.
All right. Uh, Now, let's talk about friends in general. What kind of people do you enjoy being friends with?
I love good listeners. If they have a good listening ear and they are patient and they follow me through my emotional stresses and all that troubles. So I have most of my friends are like that, and they are very they're introverted. Most of them are introverts, and I myself am one. So
All right. And do you prefer spending time with your friends or with your family?
I prefer spending time with my family. All my friends are coincidentally like that as well. They are also family people. Uh, we really value families, companionship. Yes.
Okay. At this point, we will move on to the Q card section. You will have a topic and then 4 questions related to the topic. You will have 1 minute to prepare yourself, during which you can use a paper to organize your thoughts. After 1 minute of preparation, you will have to speak on the topic for 1.5 to 2 minutes. You will not be allowed to look at the questions when you start speaking. If I stop you at the 2 minute mark, do not take that as an indication of how well your exam is going. Are the instructions clear?
Yes, they're very clear.
All right. I'll start sharing the screen. Please give me a confirmation as soon as you can see the topic.
Yes, I can see the topic.
All right. You have precisely 1 minute to prepare yourself. You can begin when you're ready. All right. Your 1 minute is over. Can you begin speaking?
Yes. So my favorite sport is basketball. This I played the most because, as I said, it's the one that I love to play the most. The reasons why I love to play it is that it requires a lot of energy to play it, and my brothers have the same stamina as I do. So we love to spend that play with that. I started playing it because I was inspired by animes that were made around it. So my brothers, we had spent time learning about basketball from there, and we used to play with our cousins from the village. They were also very sporty, so we all are sports people at home. We used to play at and we had bought a land where we built the sands at the on the ground, and we bought hoops, very long hoops on 2 sides, as we built a basketball court as much as we could. And we used to spend multiple evenings at that place for hours. It was a quality time for our family. Sometimes our fathers used to join us as well. uh, yeah, that's it.
All right. Fair enough. At this point, we will move on to the next part of the speaking test. So let's talk about children's games in general. How have games changed from the time when you were a child?
The transition was something like the games have become outdoors to indoors. The most of the uh, main reason for that is the technology that is available for the children now compared to before. and our parents, they are very well educated, so they did not have that much time that they could bring us to a park or something that we could they could keep watch on us and we could play. So as the time went by, I saw that the games, for our convenience, actually we the games became from outdoors to indoors. Now it's more like a video game thing than playing outside and sweat. And yeah.
Okay. Why do you think children like playing games?
It gives them a lot, it gives them stimulation. They get stimulated in multiple ways which they like. They It caters to their creativity, it caters to their critical thinking ability. They like to be stimulated just in general.
All right, now let's talk about competitions. Do you think competitive games are good or bad for children? And why?
Well, there are pros and cons of both sides in competition. Competition is a good uh, thing to for a child. Actually, it stimulates them. It creates bonding with other people. It does, at some point, it actually does harm them because they tend to become too competitive. They don't know how to control or themselves, or they don't know how to face a loss. So it's a tightrope walk, really.
All right. How can games sometimes help to unite people?
Well, we see a lot of Olympic games where it unites countries, and then we see local games where it unites neighbors. So it is a very amicable situation that we can use games as an excuse to be closer to each other. Whereas, as you know, that nowadays neighbors don't even know each other's names. Now, if we conduct a game which everyone can play, like tennis or badminton, that really helps to know about each other. So uh, it does help, but the choice of the game is actually very important.
All right. Finally, why is competition often seen as important in today's society?
I have to think about it a bit. Um, it is important because if now the competition is not just inside the country anymore, now the competition is global. We have internet, which gives us access to global competitions, and the standards are very high. So we tend to compete with people who are much more, from a range of people. We with less experience, with more experience. So it really so it is very important. Otherwise, we don't want to lose the rat race of this. So
Okay, fair enough. We're going to conclude the speaking test here, and I'll give you a brief explanation of how you did in the different criteria pertaining to your speaking test. Please check the
so
chat
I
section.
have a question.
Yes.
Oh, right. Because this was a CBT exam, so the marking was supposed to
Yeah,
be
I will.
instant.
Yeah,
That's
I
why.
just gave you the overall score, and I'll be giving you a detailed explanation in terms of how you did in the different criteria. So there are four
Okay.
criteria based on which we assess the speaking test. The first of which is fluency and coherence. Your score in terms of fluency and coherence is a 7 out of 9. There are two qualities that we look for when we decide on giving a student an 8 or above. You need to have your answers properly developed, meaning that your entire answer should sort of resemble the structure of an essay, where you decisively portray or explain what your stance is in relation to the question, and then you develop your entire answer similar to how you would develop a paragraph with logical arguments, and then you tie your arguments back to your original opinion. For example, when I ask you a question about how competitive games can be good or bad for children. Are they good or bad for children? Your answer was on point, relevant. However, you failed to present a decisive verdict in terms of whether you think this is a good or a bad thing, right? So make sure that you pay attention to the question and you answer the question in the very least, even if your answer is on topic. In terms of vocabulary, which is lexical resources, your score is an 8 out of 9. Majority of the words that you used were accurate, effective, and flexible. You showed the ability to use jargons or specialized words related to whatever sector you were speaking about. So that's always going to play in your favor. However, if you want to get a higher score, you need to be natural and fluent. For example, when you were talking about constructing a basketball field, in an area that you own, you sort of struggled with your word choices and choosing the appropriate words to convey whatever you were trying to say. So it shows that you're not yet natural with adapting or selecting words that would be appropriate to convey your ideas. And so it has to be natural. And idiomatic languages were present in your speech. However, they need to be skillfully presented throughout the entire answer without showing any discomfort. In terms of grammatical range and accuracy, your score is a 7 out of 9. Majority of the sentences were grammatically correct. There were no major mistakes in terms of how you were constructing your sentences. Meaning was never distorted. However, when you tried to present complex ideas, you struggled constructing compound sentences or maneuvering between different structures of sentences. But when you are talking about ideas relevant to your sector or ideas that you are more comfortable with, you did not really struggle to construct sentences. So that sort of shows your areas of weaknesses in terms of talking about topics that you're not familiar with. In terms of pronunciation, your score is a 7 out of 9. Everything that you said was easy to understand. As long as everything that you say is easy to understand, you will never score less than 7. However, because this is a computer-based exam, it's a bit difficult to understand appropriate pronunciations throughout the entire response. However, if you want to get an 8 or 9, you need to ensure that phonetic applications are present throughout the entirety of the response rather than selective words which you are more comfortable with. Your overall score for this particular speaking exam is a 7.5. Your tentative score in your main exam should be between 7 to 7.5. However, you have the capacity to score an 8 if you can work on being a bit more confident in constructing sentences and demonstrating little language-related hesitation when you are talking about unfamiliar topics or ideas. You can slow down your pace a bit so that you can maintain a constant pace when you're speaking. All right. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right. Thank you very much, and good luck for your test.
Thank you very much.